Welcome to Squatchin Holler.
In the mist where the trees lean low, Squatchin Holler's got a tale to show. Whispers creep like a creature's faint howl. Every shadow's got a secret to growl. Monsters rise where the stories are told. Squatchin Holler where the legends are born. Are they here? Are they gone? Who can say? In the holler, the truth just slips away. Huge footprints fade where the creek runs thin. A lantern sways, let the search begin. Rustling leaves, but there's no one near. Is it the wind or the beast you fear? Every echo's a question, every rustle's a clue. Squatchin Holler's got its eyes on you. Monsters rise where the stories are torn. Squatchin Holler where the legends are born. Are they here? Are they gone? Who can say?
And now, with your Squatchin Holler hosts, Roger Williams, Amanda Stowers, and Ashley Range. Remember, this podcast can be downloaded everywhere great podcasts are found. And now the show.
Hello, Amanda. How you doing?
I'm good, Roger. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing good. Everybody's running wild around here, and I'm having light issues, y'all. If my light goes out, or if it gets dark a little bit, we're gonna roll with it. And for the people who listen on, Spotify, and y'all don't need to see my ugly mug anyway. But, everybody knows we usually focus on east of the Mississippi, but I've driven out west, and I've been to Skinwalker Ranch, New Mexico, Utah, all up in there, and you on the main roads, and you're like, man, it kind of looks boogery, but I don't know. And then you get on the back roads, and you see a movie being shot, and it's some really different terrain in these spots, and I've always been interested in the Southwest, and I just haven't run up on anybody, and we know that people from all walks of life have different jobs, and they see amazing things. They're scared to tell about their experiences, and a lot of them are scared because they might, either lose their job or be laughed at or hurt their career. We've got a guy on tonight that finally just, you know what? I'm putting the truth out there, and what happens, because it does weigh on you, and there's no better feeling than finally just to let go of that and put it out there, and you can help people too, so, and not like you do every day, at the museum. So,
or I try to anyhow.
I try to, yeah.
But yeah, I'm like you. I'm excited for tonight's guest, coming from the Southeast, let me rephrase not the Pacific Northwest. I mean, like in the desert area. Sorry, I'm getting my tongue's twisted tonight.
Well,
so somewhere it's not as, or at least for me, I don't know. To me, I always think desert, no trees, all this kind of stuff. So, but I do hear stories and reports, and BFR reports, things like that come in from the Southwest there in Arizona, New Mexico, and all that area. So it's gonna be cool. So
yeah, and we just interviewed MK Davis for the second time, and we discussed that area and Lovelock Cave and a lot of the stuff they found out there. I know Hillary, y'all. He's already seen a picture of me dressed up. He saw it. I think it's Halloween. I sent it to him or posted on Facebook. But everybody knows I dressed as Walter White and had my little blue rocks and stuff. So everybody got a good laugh at that. I shaved my head and everything. So y'all, we're gonna bring Jesus Payan on, and we thank him for coming on. Yes, Minxie, they saw you on Flash of Beauty, said he's a right. We told him he didn't know anything about us. I said, look, let your sense of humor roll, and we're okay. It's like sitting on the back porch and with your drink of choice or whatever. So bring Jesus in, y'all. Hey, buddy, is that a beer?
Drink of choice. Woo!
I like
What's up,
it.
guys?
How's it going? You've had a busy day too.
Yep, been a busy one. Just living life to the fullest and trying to pay bills and take care of my family.
I totally understand that. And then he rushes in with 13 minutes to go, and some dummy hadn't sent him the link yet.
I wonder who that was.
Not saying any names.
I was searching through my emails. I was like, what did I do? What did I do with it? Did I delete it? You know?
Yeah. I looked down at my phone. It said Jesus Payan Messenger, and I'm like, oh crap! I forgot to send him the link. So, we're far from professional, but we have fun, and we'd like to get into the stories. And one thing I've learned, if somebody's more apt to see something weird one time, they start paying attention, and you see more weirdness as it goes. And some of the stuff you talked about, we're gonna give a shout out to Jill and Matt was Flash of Beauty. We had Jill on one time, and she was really sweet. And y'all go check that out on Flash of Beauty, and it's one of the latest ones. And I watched it today, and I was rolling. I mean, some of the stories he was telling, there goes a light. Some of the stories he was telling, I was about crying laughing. But anyway, Amanda, can you take over a second?
Absolutely. So you see, I don't go into the light, Roger. Yeah.
Right? Don't do it.
All right. So just make sure I got it right. You prefer Jesus instead of Jesus, or does it go either way?
I go with whatever language we're speaking.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
I got you. Yep.
Cool. So how did you when did you decide to start coming out publicly with all of your Bigfoot encounters and other high strangeness that you've experienced?
Well, I've always told family, friends, well, mostly friends, because besides my mom and my sister, they were usually there around a lot of it growing up with me. So the random few, I was born on a military base, and in Spain, my dad was the Air Force, and so the first part of my life was in the military, and my parents didn't hang out with people. They didn't really have friends. They just did them, went to work, came home, made food and paid bills. And the occasional friend I would have that was close enough to where I'd be like, hey, did you see that UFO last night? And they'd be like, what are you talking about? Stop being crazy. I was like 11, 12 years old. And after like the fourth person that I would say, when I see something and they had no idea what I was talking about and thought I was nuts, that's when I realized, it wasn't common for people to be seeing those things. But I never stopped sharing my experiences with people, because a lot of times it was with people. I'll be around people when this kind of stuff happens, so it makes it harder for me not to talk about it when they're like, man, geez, why is this weird stuff happening with you?
Yeah. Well, I've had the same question, like, what is it about you? I mean, like, you show up and I don't know. So that with the weirdness, we've delved into, is it the area, is it the person, is it both, and I think the answer is all of that, and I think everything is connected. People they put it in, Bigfoot over here, and I feel like it's part of the same whatever. I don't know what to call it, but we go to places and research or camp or whatever, and there might be orbs. We have orbs on video. We have things with multiple witnesses at the same time. And first off, you're going to a spot to research too now, and you're putting yourself in the middle of it. But it is strange. Like you sometimes you're like, why me? What did I do? why am I seeing this
Exactly.
stuff?
Right. I
It's
agree.
all connected.
what I think this is like my I guess hypotheses
Mhm.
are constantly evolving. Constantly evolving as I learn more and experience more and see other people going through things, and I have, those moments. Oh man, why didn't I think about it? It could be this,
Mhm.
and so sound resonance. You've got Bigfoots and that can do the no,
Ultrasound.
Infrasound.
Infrasound. I'm sorry.
infrasound,
Yeah.
Yep.
infrasound. Okay, so that's a frequency, right?
Mhm.
And we know that shapes have their own frequency. Letters have their own frequency. Everything has its own frequency. So I would say blood definitely gives off its own frequency, whatever type it may be. So if, say, like the O negative blood type or the B negative or the B plus or A, B, C, D, F, G, whatever,
Right.
they all have their own resonance.
Mhm.
What if the negatives, the O negatives, mainly the O negatives, I noticed,
Are you O negative?
Oh yeah.
Me
What
too.
about you up there?
Over
Yeah.
here, I've out of all the things, I don't know, and that's kind of
Oh,
bizarre. I need
no,
to know. I've had like
Mystery.
TMI. I've had
well,
like 5 major surgeries in my lifetime. I figured I would know what my blood type is by
well,
now, but I don't.
it's funny that he brings that up because one night we had a lot of people in chat, and I just found out I was O negative, and
Mhm.
Amanda remembers. I'm like, how many of y'all are O negative? It's like bam, 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 bam. We're like, what? That's a low percentage of the
Yeah.
population, but there's a high percentage in this chat, which is odd.
Yeah, the chat was just rolling with 90% of the people were all in the O negative
Or negative,
branch
yeah.
there.
And
So
y'all,
this,
he's talking about Southwest New Mexico in that area is where he's
yeah,
at.
so like you got the Four Corners area. I'm at the
Mhm.
way bottom to the right at the tip of El Paso, Texas. About an
Oh
hour from El
man,
Paso, Texas.
I've been
Oh,
there.
So
way there
the,
then.
the idea is that say that like you have radio signals, you have antennas, you have receivers, right? You have all these different things. So what if a specific type of blood or DNA, type
Mhm.
has a stronger signal, has
Mhm.
a louder
Yep.
to, and the ones that can recognize those things, however they do or sense these things, it's like we're like sore thumbs, just out in the snow, or like a light bulb in a dark room,
Right.
glowing black. We can call it what we will, resonance, spirit, energy.
Yep.
But that's what I'm thinking, is that it has to do with the ones that are the ones that notice us, that notice
Mhm.
them. I think it's for a reason, and that there is a connection on a, I guess it'd be a molecular or level in DNA and
Mhm.
all. We're all related.
Some of our Native American buddies, I get to talk to some, and you know, I've found out, like part Cherokee, my great great grandmother's Lydia Gray Eyes, and all this stuff, and they've helped me with some of my heritage, and you know, it's the first time I learned about blood memory and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
some of this oral history
Real.
that's passed down, and that I missed out on because, or a lot of us miss out because, I mean, where do you go? I mean, unless you find somebody that trusts you and that can talk to you, uh, you, we won't hear none of this. But I I did hear something that you said that was I really liked. You said about taking tracking classes and stuff, growing up, and I know how that helps, but how do you utilize that, like, when you're out in the field? Does that mean, which we know how, but I mean, there may be people listening that might not.
Well, the way that I would utilize that is the more you do know officially, animal wise, tracks wise, um, gaits, different gaits, bipedal versus quadrupedal, um, because the stuff we're looking for isn't in the stuff they're teaching you. You can
Mhm.
say, I'm looking at that, and that is not all the things I learned in that class.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
can recognize it. I can say that is not normal. You
Right.
know, that is not, you know.
And he when he says tracking class, also you're looking at the natural material and everything to see if it's been manipulated. It's not just footprints on
No,
the
no,
ground.
nothing tracks.
It's directional breaks, maybe something's tracking something out. It's a lot. You see the whole picture.
Yeah.
And if you find a set of tracks, this is important. I don't think people talk about this enough. If Jesus finds a trackway, maybe let's say he finds two, and he's looking at it and it all matches up, but then he's also looking over to the left and right to make sure it wasn't faked if somebody else had been standing there. So there's a lot goes into it, and I, I I never was officially taught, but I was taught hunting and stuff like that. So
Well, you don't have to have a certificate or nothing like that to learn. You could go to YouTube University. They have everything possible you could learn on here. I learned how to work on diesel trucks through this channel. You
that's
know,
my favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite.
You
Like,
know,
how do I change a
I got-
starter on a '99 Chevy? Look on YouTube.
right now, I'm rebuilding right now a Dodge Magnum, 2005 Dodge Magnum.
Oh, I saw.
So this is literally like 30 minutes ago. Let's see if you can see it.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm a Mopar head.
You know,
Yeah.
so just
Yeah,
like with vehicles, you got to know the base, information. Here's the key, that's the ignition, it needs to breathe, it needs some kind of power. You got to make sure it has the electricity going to it. Just the basic, just the same thing as with the hunting, the tracking.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just at least a start basics of what a dog print looks like versus a bear print versus just the basics. Then from there, when you do go in the field, and I do recommend everybody watch anybody that actually goes in the field, watch them, see what they're doing, see what works, pay attention to those things. And when you go out there, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater because you don't think that any breaks below 6 feet could be a Bigfoot because you're like, oh, well, that must be a deer, that must be an elk, slow down. They're not always big, they
Right.
grow up from little. So there's little ones. You know what I mean? And the little ones learn how to make from the big ones, and they'll copy and they'll break sticks too. And there's a lot to
it. And to your point, you're talking about Bigfoot. People told me, oh, if it's a big tree and a deer rubs it, it's a big deer. Quick story. I saw a little bitty deer, little buck, make a rub, do all the work, and two other bucks took it away from him, and they never touched it. All they did is squat and urinate in it, took it over, and they let him do all the work. So, each bigger buck took it over. So you can't go by, like you're saying, you can't go by that.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Okay. So once, like we were talking about earlier, that we notice more, right? After we've experienced something. Well, it's pattern recognition. Just like if you know what a rub looks like from a deer, versus if you didn't. So while we're out there, our eyes are scanning the ones that do know what we're looking at. Then we can be like, that's not one. That's not that's okay. That's it. That's something. That little bit moved over there. That's a this. They were doing that. I've seen them do that before. You know, so it's all pattern recognition. With some people, there will be something on the right next to them in front of their face, honking and gyrating, and they won't even notice it. Don't even know it's there.
Then, yep, you're right.
It's there, but until you actually point it out and look over there, then they'll see it, and the next time they'll be looking over there and over here, and then notice. Look up.
It's the same thing with hunting and stuff. My wife, she didn't do that growing up, and a few months into being with me, I was teaching her how to look at the angles and all this stuff, and most people look too high, so you have to have somebody help you, and could you tell the audience, I'm sure we've got a different audience, your first Bigfoot encounter on the gravel road? Was that your first one?
Yeah, I would say my actual first encounter physically of some sort, like not just hearing about it or hearing a long call from far away. And I wasn't looking for Bigfoot either, not whatsoever. It was me and my good friend Michael Carrillo, and it was early 2000s, and we were on my parents' property, and it's a 5-acre plot, and the road around it is shaped like a horseshoe. So we're at the bottom of that horseshoe of the road, and we live 4 miles outside of a small village that's 13 miles outside of the small town we live in. So, we're about 40 miles from White Sands Missile Range as well. So we're out.
Ooh.
We're in the
Oh wow.
we're in the cut.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but it's a
Out
great.
way
There's
out
no
yonder. That's what we.
right out calendar, and there's no light. We don't have light pollution in that area, so it's really good for stargazing. And but we were out there UFO gazing, looking for UFOs. There was no moon out at all. It was just perfect, dark night. Stars everywhere. And we walked out to the edge of my property and onto a gravel road, and we're just out there, just chilling, waiting, looking around, waiting for UFOs to pop up, because it happens a lot. It happens a lot around me. Not every day or nothing, but more than the average person. I'll just say that.
Well, you ain't gonna see them if you're not out there. So that's
You don't look up. You can't win if you don't play.
that's right.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I worked for the Tennessee Lottery for 4 years. They're like, "What's the odds of winning the Powerball?" I'm like, I said, "With a ticket or without?" And they're like, "With a ticket." Oh, it's about the same as without. My boss is like, "You can't say that." I'm like, "Okay." Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's all about cheering. Yeah, so we're out there just waiting, and we hear something step onto the gravel road in front of us.
Mhm.
And when I mean it's pitch dark, it's pitch dark. It got to our eyes had adjusted enough to wander to the edge of our property without, we went any farther, we'd probably get lost. But because in the distance you could see our back porch light, on the back deck in the distance. It's 2.5 acres away. So we know where home was. So we're out there and we hear, crunch, crunch, crunch. And tap Michael, he's on the left of me, and we're facing the east. Yeah, we're facing east and towards the mountains. And the keeps on going, walking to the other side of the road. Why did the scary monster walk on to the other side of the road? And it started walking back the other way until it was officially pacing back and forth. And I called down, hey, who's there? What are you doing? What are you doing out here in the middle of nowhere? Shouldn't be out here in the middle of nowhere at this time of the hour, not like us. Right? And there's no response, no talking, just pacing back and forth. And it was, bipedal. I could tell it was bipedal. It wasn't a little horsey or a donkey in the desert. And if it was a cat, a large cat, we wouldn't hear it. It wouldn't be going crunch, crunch, crunch. That
Well, and another thing, Jesus, if something with hooves were doing that, you could tell it was hooves.
Oh yeah.
When it's heavy, soft feet, right? I mean, it's something in your memory bank of sounds. Growing up out there,
I have a horse. You know what I
right?
mean? So
What it's not, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's at that time I already had been, security and a bouncer at a bunch of places, and I started bouncing when I was 16 years old, and I dealt with a lot of dudes that that'll. Not all guys are that brave. They usually have some of them have to build up the courage, and take so many shots before they can, before they're like, I'm ready,
Yeah.
I'm
liquid courage.
Yeah.
So there is a specific, as as a bouncer, you can feel the static coming from that person. They're stewing, they're stewing, trying to build it up and build up that courage, to do whatever they plan on doing. And I was feeling that, and that's not good. I'm really good at feeling those things.
Right.
With people.
And it's not something you're supposed to be feeling from something in the middle of nowhere.
No,
If you don't, you're not very good at your job, right? And you end up in the hospital. So
no, I was really good at my job, and I used to retrain whole security teams, and I traveled around the United States. It was like a big cholo version of a Roadhouse, So I'd go to different places to fix things.
And I want to say something, y'all. So talking to my good friend Greg Howes, he's in chat. He's in Alabama, a few miles from me, and he's had it more than me. But I had it one time where they throw a fit and they work themselves up. You know what I mean? It's like the more they're pacing, the more it's fixing to get real. And so when I heard you say that, I called him. I said, man, he was talking about the same thing, that they do that out there as they do here. And that's kind of a humanistic kind of thing, right? So yeah,
very much so. So I told Michael, I was like, hey man, this isn't good. This is not good. And let's grab some rocks and let's scare it. You know, whatever it is, we don't want it near us right now. It seems like it's getting angrier, you know. And so we squat down and we grab some rocks, you know, grab some rocks. Now, go, you know. And stand up, ready? Now, we throw the rocks, and it must have been like a cartoon, you know, like with Bugs Bunny's dodging stuff. Didn't hit it once. I mean, it was ridiculous. We threw a lot of rocks. Nothing. And it's still pacing back and forth. But now it's pacing back and forth faster because it's kind of pissed that we're throwing rocks at it.
Right.
It's acknowledging that we've done something that would have harmed it if it had hit it, and now it's mad at us for intending to try to hurt it. You know.
And I can see you pointing at your buddy. He did it. I didn't. Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, that did not work. Now we've just made it worse.
Now what do we do?
Right. So now, we're I feel like we're this close to it going rah, you know.
Yeah.
And, I just reached down and I grab a kind of a little bit larger rock than we hit, you know, the ones we had a bunch of in our hand versus just one. So I grab a bigger rock and I close my eyes, and you know, as I said, I use the force. You know, it makes no sense why you would close your eyes in the middle of the dark. It shouldn't make a difference, but it did. I closed my eyes and I could actually see a mass with the sound moving back and forth on the gravel. And I reached back, woof, zip, whack, and it screamed, ah, you know, all crazy. And me and my friend Michael were like, help us. You know, we're all scared. And we started running, run. And we took off to the right towards my house, and we're running, you know, fast as we can. He's a normal, physically fit, you know, young man at the time, so he was gone, and I was just chug-a-lugging, going 350 pounds, 400 pounds, barely able to, you know, move, and had asthma, and you know, had flat feet, and it was, you know, I got up late that day, and
just wasn't a good day for you.
Just hadn't been half an hour yet, you know.
A little advice to everybody that's listening or watching. I was almost 400 pounds at one time. If you see me or Jesus running, you better don't ask questions. Go that way, right? We'll talk about it later if we make it, right?
We're running.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
I didn't run nowhere unless,
you know, so we're like now halfway to my back deck. So the light's starting to show from the floodlight in the back. And I look to my left, and you know, he's already, you know, almost to the deck, and I see what's on all fours, monster at the time. You know, I didn't think, hey, Bigfoot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It turned its head and like showed its teeth to me, which scared the living crap out of me even more. And so yeah, I started running faster. You know, I'm trying to find a picture. I had made a picture to show you. Let me see. Hold on.
I like him. He does like I do. Try to put make AI kind of show people what's going on or whatever.
You know. Let's see here. Where is Bigfoot? Okay. Here we go. Here it is. All right. So this is kind of what I saw. Okay. Right on my cracked screen, but
all right.
Oh heck no.
Yeah.
So it was crouched down. Was it moving at the time?
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Yeah,
okay.
It was
okay.
Just
I missed it.
Actively all four chasing.
That's when you caught the other gear. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yep. yeah. I was burning rubber then. I was just jiggling everywhere, and it was terrible. But I was going at least 4.5 miles per hour, trying to get to the deck. And if it wanted to catch me, it would have caught me. That was the thing. I believe, like I said, for its size, now I know now, it looked at least, I'd say like early teens, maybe, you know? So it was about 6 feet tall. And yeah, ran up the deck and it tackled the deck on the right, boom, and ran around it again on the other side and tackled that side, boom. And we couldn't get inside the house. We couldn't figure out the sliding door. It was just, we were freaked out, man. It was just like Fort Knox for a second there until we finally open, ran inside the house, slammed it shut, pulled the curtain. We weren't trying to go, hey, look, let's take pictures of a Bigfoot or nothing like that. We were just like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? What was that? You know? And he thought it was a werewolf because he had seen what he believed a werewolf in a pecan orchard that his dad, he was farming. And yeah, they saw what they thought was a werewolf out there taking pecans.
Where was that at?
About, I'd say 2-3 miles from my house.
Oh, snap. Okay, so it's all right there in the same area then.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. From the way he's describing it, it could have caught you if it had wanted to, but it chose not to, which is even creepier, in my opinion.
I think, you know, me and Amanda's heard so many stories and we've had things happen to us, and you know, you kind of lose that. I had a buddy, he's more country than I am, and he saw one when he was like 12 and 20 foot away, and you know, he was stealing a calf and he caught it. And so anyway, I asked him that question. I'm like, man, did it keep you from doing, you know? He said, man, he said, the way I figured it was, if he's there, he's always been there. He could have got me anytime he wanted to. He could have reached out and grabbed me then, and he didn't. So, you know, and it's wild how different people handle the stressful situations. And we talked about that, about your job as a bouncer. I was a correctional officer. A lot of people in chat, former police officers, ER nurses, you name it, any kind of stressful job, that the people that hold it together a little bit, it don't mean that you don't feel it inside, but you react a little different. And then when you get safely to the truck, you fall to pieces, you know. But that's interesting.
Well, it was like this. Okay, I was doing a movie. It was doesn't matter what movie it was, but I was doing the set, right? I wasn't in the movie or nothing, and they wanted to introduce me to the producer and some actors that were there. That they wanted to meet me because of Breaking Bad and stuff. And you know, and Joey, was it Joey Pantoliano? Joey Pantoliano, yeah, from The Matrix, and Sean Patrick Flannery. They were doing a movie, so I go talk to them and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, you want to be in it?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
What are we doing?" You know,
Yeah,
it's a nightclub scene, and there's going to be an explosion. You know, you could, you know, be in the crowd or something. You know, and I was like, okay. So he forgot that I'm 6'3", and the average person in Albuquerque is about 5'8", maybe. You know, and so they're about to you know, to shoot the scene, and there I'm standing up, and everybody comes up to hear me. You just see my head sticking up in the scene, and one of the producers, you just hear, "What the hell are we supposed to do with that?" Right? And so I was like, I can explain, and they're like, "Please do." I was like, "Don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing. This is security, floor security. So when that thing explodes, everybody's going to be running away, correct?" And they're like, "Well, yeah." I go, "Well, I'm the one that's running towards it." And they're like, "Ooh, we like
that.
Do it," you know?
Yeah.
So that's
like, do the thing.
Yeah, the thought process, like, when it was just like, for me, minor stuff, just little things like having to be at Walmart, you know, or wherever, bugs the living crap out of me. I get all anxiety and all PTSD, you know. And but if it's a insane event, car crash, you know, shootouts, whatever, I'm on the ball. I'm ready. No problem. You know, I can do it. You know, but yeah, it's a trip, man. So it carries over, like you said, it carries over, you know, to the strange and unknown, you know.
Right. And y'all, if you watch that interview, I hope if you hadn't, you go and watch it. I was kind of surprised because I saw the Breaking Bigfoot and all that. We've been friends on Facebook. We don't know each other, but you know, a couple years, and when I started getting into all this, I started adding folks, and it's my son just posted and made me forget. I can't look at the chat, y'all. So
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right?
yeah,
Right.
but man, what was I gonna say? I'm getting old, y'all.
Don't worry.
It happens. You know what I mean? So Amanda, can you bail me out?
Bail you out.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man.
I'll think of it in a second.
We're talking about this. Let me back it up. I said it carries
Yes.
over. It carries over.
Yeah.
The stretch.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say.
Okay.
So I saw the Breaking Bigfoot, and I've seen his post. And he does the shows and stuff, and goes to the meet and greet type things. And I was surprised, and this is why I kind of leaned up in my seat while I was watching the interview. I've had UFO experience that was undeniable what it was, because when it left, it went out into space in a clear as night. That's a mind twisting thing to see. But I saw the Bigfoot 3 years earlier, so I think I reacted a little better when I saw that. But now we're fixing to get into weird, y'all. It's not weird to me, but you have actually seen aliens, right?
Yeah.
And so that's got to be hard to talk about. But once you make that step, it's out there. And now, if I remember correctly, you said you've never seen one get out of a craft, but you've seen them together a couple times, right?
Well, I've seen the craft down on the ground where I had to get on them, so I've been taken with them. They've been off the craft right there. Like I said, looking in my windows, coming through walls.
When did that start?
My first UFO memory, or first memory of them? My first UFO memory was in where the heck we were in England, about an hour's drive from Bentwaters Air Force Base. It was in 1980. I was 4 years old, and my sister was staying in my room because her room was too cold. It was an old 200-year-old house, and just her room was frozen or haunted or something. And we were in the same room, and we saw a cigar shape, unless it was a disc facing perfectly. It looked like a cigar to us. Yeah, coming towards our window. When it came close enough, I don't remember anything else after that.
Right.
And that's a constant. Just no more memory for those areas. But the first, I guess, memories I have of seeing any entities, whatever we want to call them, I guess would be when I was about 9 or 10.
Very young, yeah.
Yeah, 9 or 10 would be the age. Yeah.
But think about what you just said. You were in a military kid, and you were around Air Force bases for how many years?
I'd say living on them for about 14 years.
And then you said you lived close to them later.
Yeah, we lived literally 13 miles from the base that we were stationed on 3 different times, and it's where my parents retired. Yeah.
Did you ever hear any military folks discussing it, or is it just something that was hush hush and you had to deal with on try to figure it out on your own?
Well, in Alamogordo, there's of course a lot of I wouldn't call it hush hush, but more there's kind of whispers. But it's kind of like a lot of the reservations I lived on. Bigfoot's not a big deal. That it's there. It's there. Here, it's UFOs. Bigfoot is not as popular as in being seen.
Right.
People don't know exactly where to look sometimes. But right here, you see all kinds of stuff, a lot. So that's like, we always knew stuff was there on the base, and the weird things on White Sands Missile Range. Knowing that the Close Encounters of the Third Kind was based on an incident here at White Sands Missile Range. That whole story was here.
Wow.
And and then we had like I said, local MUFONs here as well. Has constant meetings every month, and there's a lot going on here. And yeah, it's kind of just not a big deal. We got the base here, and the biggest military missile range on Earth. So there's all kinds of weird stuff going on.
Well, you would think that beings would be curious, and we've heard stories of missile silos getting shut down by
Mhm.
UFOs. We used to call them back in the old days, but they're UAPs now. And
Yep.
we hear some fantastical stories, but dadgum, I just me being through the stuff I've been through, I finally realized, man, I can't say anything about anybody's story because I tell a story. And I know people that listen all the time. I'll be telling stories about the UFO and then the ghost, and then the Bigfoot, and I'm like in my head, like, Roger, you're sounding crazy. Stop, you know, like. But when you're telling the truth, just get it out there, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
people in the areas you've been in are ripe for that stuff. Now, what can you tell us about? I've seen some of the pretty. Well, just be honest. I've seen some of the pretty land in New Mexico, and I've seen some of the kind of barren land. And you can go around a curve, and it just changes. It's beautiful. And what can you tell people that's never been to New Mexico about some of the Bigfooty areas? Is it more greenery and like here, or do they live in the desert type? Or the
They go both ways.
Okay.
Hmm. They
Mhm.
do. They can.
Dude, you would fit in. You would fit in here with us, man. You come to Tennessee, holler at us.
Will do. But yeah, so we've got them in the forest. We got them in the desert. Um, they're able to live either place all over, the state. Which of course people are like, yeah, okay, Bigfoot's everywhere, dude. But you'd be amazed just how many there really are out there
Mhm.
that we've followed their the sightings, and the evidence. But yeah, for people that come here, we don't have a lot of forest in New Mexico, but we have like the ones here, Sacramento Mountains, the Lincoln County National Forest here. I think it's the smallest national forest there is. But yeah, we have that. No, that's down here by El Paso, the tip of Texas area kind of world. And then you have to go all the way to the middle of the state to get to Santa Fe, and you've got some greenery there. And there's the Madrid Mountains. We have a lot of activity up there, and those like the foothills, kind of. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Mhm.
And it's those juniper trees that only grow to 10, 12 feet high, and they look all like big bushes more, but the
Yeah.
trees. And then you get up to the Four Corners area with Farmington and all these other places like that, and where you got big forests, all near that area. So it we got them both places. I just say if you want to look for some Bigfoots here, look up the sighting areas and go to those areas, and you're more than likely find something that's related to
So what's your opinion? Because Tennessee surprisingly has like more caves than any
it.
state in the United States. But then you got Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. You've got Georgia. What's the cave situation out there?
It is very cavey,
Very,
very cavey.
Maybe
that
that
that's our
technical jargon there. I
that's the
like it.
I love it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like Roger,
that
you
well,
dummy. It's very cavey.
right. Well, to give a great exact example of how caviness it is here, have you ever heard of Carlsbad Caverns?
Yes, sir. With all the
Okay.
bats.
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
Carlsbad Caverns is everywhere here underneath. That's just a
all
small
of it. Right.
section. Oh yeah, like here where I'm at, even the Apache during the times of the Spaniards coming and doing their thing, they were traveling. They'd disappear into the caves at the bottom of the mountains, and they knew the cave systems all the way to the very top of the mountains.
Mm.
And they no longer use those nowadays, but that's where the Sasquatch are using. Um, Without a doubt, sure, because they don't migrate. These ones don't migrate during winter. They're still in the area, but they're just not, as prevalent because it's wintertime. They set up camp,
Uh,
underground.
and y'all, because he's in the Southwest, do not think it doesn't get cold there. I got
Mhm.
out of the car one night in the middle of the desert, and it felt like my skin was drawing up. It's so dry.
Yeah.
It's cold. I
It
mean,
snowed today. It snowed today here in New Mexico. Not,
the
not
Oh, no doubt.
yeah. So
I
that was
saw
one.
snow. I think it was near Albuquerque when we were there, and it's pretty. You get out in the different areas. my dumb redneck tail, I didn't dress for cold weather because we're going to the desert, right? So yeah, I had this little thin thing on, no socks, and they're like, "You're gonna die." I'm like, "I know," but there's plenty of those trees you're talking about to keep warm. But you know, don't burn those because you'll get put in jail. But so you know, you said you have a research area about 20 minutes from your house. How often do you get to go out there?
To my least, I say maybe once or twice every couple weeks I go.
Okay. And
pop out. Well, because there's like 3-4 different research areas 20 minutes away from me that I know of, the different areas. So, you know, just depends on what I'm doing that week.
And y'all, when he says research and stuff, he's done got to the point now where he carries fruits with him. And tell people how when you pull up at the research area, how you do different than most people. You let them know you're there and everything. I've heard that before here, and it seems to work for the people that do that. Tell them how you. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this question in right quick. This is my buddy that lives in Alabama he has them around his house.
He's asked this question earlier, so yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot. He backs up to a national park. Have you ever had any follow you home other than that one, like if you're out researching and then maybe come around the house? Yeah, he said yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I had them I found prints out here at my house.
Oh Lord.
And they kept on letting our dogs out. Like I have, you know how heavy a railroad tie is, right? Okay, those are heavy, they're saturated with oil. And the dogs kept on getting out. We're like, what the heck, man? How they keep on getting out? So I was, they had been digging underneath at first. I was like, oh, they must be digging right here. So I covered it up, and they'd be out again. And the stuff would be moved. I'm like, what the heck? Okay, I'm gonna put a lawnmower here this time. And this and that, dog can't do that. Next morning, they're out, lawnmower's moved. I'm like, okay, railroad ties.
Right.
I have a stack of them. I'll put some railroad ties. Ain't no dog gonna move a damn railroad tie or two on top of each other. Next morning, they've been moved out. And the dogs are out again. So they definitely know me, and they know that I know that they know. So yeah, they follow me home.
That's a scary thought for a lot of us, and I think Mark Green and Gray, they had talked about that, and I'm like, no, man, I live in a small town, but I'm in the city limits. But then I got to thinking, the city limits end on the other side of these houses, and there's woods as far, and there's BFRO reports within 12 miles as a crow flies. So then I started worrying about that. I'm like, oh no, y'all quit. I mean, the more you learn, it's better. It's better to learn, but then you can get some scary situations. But yeah, I love the way you explained, like when you get out with the fruit and everything, like how you just announce yourself, like, hey, because I've had situations where I've had to go, look, hey, we're no threat. I don't have anything in my hands. We're leaving. You can have the place. And it's like everything calms down, like, okay, we know what you're doing now. Just get out of here. We'll leave you alone. So, I don't want to say a relationship, but they get to know who you are and your energy and your intentions, I guess.
We make a unspoken acquaintance with each other. And like if you go out there and you're trying to do Bigfoot calls, and knocking, they take that as you're trying to deceive them and convince them that it's a Bigfoot. So because you're trying to get them to talk back, when I go out there and do that, I'm doing that, letting them know already that I'm there, and that, because I do it. I introduce myself, like, hey, it's me. What's up? I'm Jesus. I'm the one that goes like that, and came to say what's up. Hey guys, don't worry. You guys want to say hi? Say hi. I'm gonna be looking around here. Okay, just saying what's up. I know you're out there. Whoop whoop whoop. Or all the do noises, and get their attention. Like, oh crap, he's talking to us.
Yeah.
He
Well,
knows we understand some things.
Jesus, I'm
makes
going
it
to tell
really
you
weird.
I'm going to tell you the truth. If you'd have told me that 5 years ago, I'd have been like, "What? What's he saying?" But I have friends that have done similar things. I've done it, and the more I talk to people that know but kind of keep things quiet, when you acknowledge them and they know, it's a different ball game.
Mhm.
They may leave you, they may leave you alone, they may get curious. They are a lot curious, and I don't know, sometimes I get out there and I'm like, "Man, should I be doing this?" But when you tell stories like that, it helps me think, okay, like you said, 5 years ago, if they wanted to wipe me off the farm over there, they could have done it. So, um, and have you seen any little ones?
Mhm. I have. I sent you a picture of a few.
Yeah, I'd say, what
Mhm.
is so we got Unreal Real Estate Agents got a question. It says, Breaking Bigfoot, have you ever seen a weird patch of smoky fog / mist in and around the same time as Bigfoot, or other reports have shadows, orbs as well, that suddenly there or suddenly gone?
The only time I've seen the mists, anything like that, is in between Socorro and Carrizozo in the um, Valley of Fire lava fields, and yeah, that whole day was just filled with strange, crazy crap in those clouds, and yeah, it was like a fog, but not a fog, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw UFOs that day and strange things poking out of the clouds and the
If
ground. Yeah.
if I show a picture, because we don't have an order, can you just, if you talk about it, maybe I go to the next one or whatever, and we can. But speaking of the little ones, I'm assuming this one right here. Yeah, hold on.
Yep.
Yeah. How many tracks did you find there?
That day we found about 7. It was in the Rio Grande?
Mm,
The San Juan. Yeah, the San Juan River. And in the middle of the river, was a little island,
mhm,
sandbar sticking
mhm.
up. And we went up, walked through it. It came up to about, I don't know, my chest, maybe, water dip, waist level. And yeah, there was footprints right there in the middle. Like, you wouldn't let, this is a real river. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It's not a little stream. It's a real damn river. And
right.
Not
you
be
wouldn't let,
someplace you'd be letting your kids run around barefoot
yeah,
at
not,
anyway.
not that size. Like, think about that. That my hand is 9 inches from palm to tip. So those are, they were like maybe 6 inches long, those prints. So on a normal child, that's, a 3, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, you know?
Mhm.
And for that size, to me, of the untrained eye, that width of that ball of the foot's too wide for a kid, and the depth is too deep for a normal weight child.
Mhm.
And that's a foot made for walking in sand and material like that to keep from sinking up, I would think. I I know a little bit about mud tires, that's all. I kind of equate it. But if you look at it, and you've got I can see the undulation of the foot, uh,
Yeah, you can see right
you
there
you
in
can see it. That's a good picture.
the metatarsal break. But yeah, we
That
were
is
right
Yeah,
here. We
you
got
could see it
this one on
there.
the Navajo Upper Fruitland Reservation. That's where we were at when we got these.
that's crazy. And that's not the first time I've heard of the middle, sandbars being a spot where tracks Greg and Chat found some behind his, man cave. Uh, so, y'all, if you have a river or creek, good sized river or creek, start checking those sandbars. Walk make the sacrifice, walk through that waist deep water and get over there.
Here's another photo that looks, is that the print itself before you cast it?
I
That's a
didn't cast this one. This was actually down here, down
Oh,
south.
okay. So this is
Um,
different. Okay.
up in Tule Creek. It's where yeah, I'm my house is Tule Creek is between the mountains and me, so it's in that track in their path up and down that waterway that they follow from the mountains. But yeah, this was there, and yeah, I just that some people think it's a bear print, but I don't think it's a bear print.
Was
Personally, I don't think
was
so.
that on an incline or decline?
Nope, perfectly flat.
Perfectly flat. Okay. Because it looks like the toes are trying to get a little traction, a little bit, or grip just some. Maybe it was taking off running or something.
Well, see, right there where we found it was right next to a tree we called the hanging tree. Um, Unfortunately, for horrible reasons, in
Right.
the past, people have been found on that tree.
Right.
But yeah, it was right there by the tree, which that would lead up the tree because it's like a big old giant trunk where you can sit and chill and hang out up there.
hmm
Perfect for for them to hang out on. That's where I did my video, Tule Creek Bigfoot, where they were whistling back and forth to me in said
Now,
bush.
somebody in chat asked earlier. I don't think all the pictures loaded. I don't think I. Is this the structure they were talking about? This is the only one I've got.
Okay.
No, that's a different one. That's a different one. I see the face back there. That's
You definitely got somebody watching you back there.
is that
Mhm.
okay? Here's the zoomed in version.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That was the same day that later that night, they came to my tent and peeled off the top of the tent to look inside and scare the crap out of the friend I was with.
Now, when you say they, is that the they with the gray, or is that Bigfoot only?
For what I could see, there's 3 of them that night. I didn't realize that at that night because I couldn't see him. My friend was right underneath the mesh, so he could see. Like it's through a screen door, you can see right directly through it.
Mhm.
If you're at the side, it becomes solid.
Right.
So where I was sitting, I just knew they were out there because they were pushing on the tent, and I could stand up in that tent, and I'm 6'3", and I couldn't. And my head didn't touch, but they were big enough
On
to
top.
look down, look down on the tent. So I know that area. That's my area. That's the place where I know they're at. So me, I just thought it was cool. I was like, all right, you didn't believe me.
Well,
They're real.
I told you.
like I told you, and they're dragging you out. I told you. No, okay.
It wasn't until I got home and enhanced the images I had and realized that the reason why he was having a panic attack was because he was seeing more than one. There was 2 Sasquatch and apparently a green-skinned reptilian with
Well,
red eyes.
Well, Tate Ramonis is here. He said he's going to give you a hard time. So,
Oh man,
Tate, he's here. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just full of questions.
don't worry. Hey, Tate, are you in your hot tub time machine, man? I know you are. Don't fight it, bro.
We interviewed him a while back. He's cool. I
need to get out there. He's been inviting me to Bluff Creek forever, and every day gets in my way. I have surgeries and but I'm gonna get out there. I swear, brother.
Breaking Bluff Creek has a ring to it,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can make some kind of special thing out of that.
Yeah, and you can roll up in your Winnebago and cook some blue stuff. But I thought that was hilarious, y'all. He bought a what do you call it, motorhome, just like in the series. Yeah. We'll talk about that right before we go. But that's cool. Is there? I could do a show just sitting talking to you about all that. But
good terms.
What is this?
Well, apparently, looks like female Sasquatch.
I know. I just, but
it looks a little chilly. No, what we're seeing inside the red circle is what appears to be a scar, a keloid scar.
I've heard that mentioned before.
It looks like a burn mark, almost like a branding. And I've been doing tattoos and I've done all kinds of skin art for over 35 years. So I know skin, I know brandings, I know body modifications, and this is a very old branding. It looks like in the way it's ribboned. The Bigfoot from over here, that's in California, obviously, that I got a picture of, happened to have the same thing on the same arm in the same location.
Oh, interesting.
Which is very, very, very strange. It's like it's hard enough to get a picture of a Sasquatch at all. Period.
Right.
But get a picture of a Sasquatch with the same thing on its arm as one 60 years ago in a whole different state.
Exactly.
That's got to mean something. It's got to mean something. You know what I mean? So,
hey, you have to be looking for stuff that other people are not, right? I mean, and plus your experience, whatever your experience is, whatever your job is, we have a doctor, in chat, Rusty, and we have people at all different walks of life. And I feel like we're stronger as a collective, like, hey man, look at this. What do you see? Well, I'm a tattoo artist and I'm like that. Man, I see this right here. I would never have seen it because I don't do that. And I love the fact that people from, you just say different walks of life, different professions or whatever, get into this for whatever reason. Most of the time it's because they've seen something strange and they're trying to figure it out. But that's cool. Well, now some of these you took and kind of made a comparison, like you got the picture on one side and you put a face over it to kind of show, like let's this one here. Where did this picture come from?
Okay, so the picture on the left is the actual picture. That's here in Eagle Creek in our mountains here, and I was out, looking for Sasquatch, and I saw the individual. I don't know what you want to call it at the time. I just knew something was standing there watching me perfectly, and I have the video of it. And I spin my phone, pretending I don't see it. I'm just filming around because I always pretend I don't see them when I see them.
Right.
I've heard that technique works really well.
So for years, I couldn't figure out what the hell it was. Because if you don't look at the one on the right, those two white thingies, which now I know are the eyebrows, I thought were whiskers. Right above those two little white things in the middle look kind of like a nose, and to the left look kind of like an eye. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like a giant 5 foot tall otter that's standing there, or some weird black sort of mountain lion standing up.
That'd be worse than a Bigfoot, Jesus. 5 foot tall otter.
So
eat you whole.
What the heck, And researching and hearing, other people saying that they've seen little ones and they look like chimpanzees. And I was like,
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that. We have a friend in South Alabama, close to Florida, that he records 24 at night, every day, every night, and he's got some audio he sent us, and there was a juvenile out there eating something he put out, and it sounded like a chimpanzee a little bit. You know what I mean? So we put it on AI and had it, let AI, and it said it was a chimp, but they don't have chimps in South Alabama. So,
well, just say, okay, that if you ever worked with any type of editing software, you can change the opacity. This, how you can see through it. It'll be there, it won't be there. Okay, right. So I found a chimpanzee face facing the same direction is what I believe I'm seeing here. And I put it at 50% see-through, okay? If we put any of our faces in that 50% see-through chimpanzee on our face, it don't work.
Right.
You would see it doesn't match at all.
Your features wouldn't match up.
Yeah,
right.
So this, what you're seeing on the right is only 50%. It's see-through. And it fit perfectly. All the anatomical, parts of it, the ears, the eyebrows, the mouth area, the nose was the same. And I was like, oh, wow. I wonder if the other pictures I have, what I believe are juveniles, if those would match up too. If Bigfoots, when they're little, look like chimpanzees, and then they grow into their heads and faces and their ears. And here's another one that was, again, on video. This is just, screenshot grabs. But I did the same thing, and it fit, except for the ears.
on the left one here, I mean, I'm pretty good at picking out stuff in a lot of pictures, and sometimes I'm not. And then you have people, you could show that picture to 5 different people in the different rooms, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, I see this," and somebody else is going to see something else. What this does, it lets people having trouble focus on the area they need to be focused on. When I see the left picture, I see the eyes. I can almost see the pupils. And then the mouth looks like the bottom teeth are showing a little bit to me. Now that might be a leaf or something in front of it, but like I said,
I can see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Maybe.
can definitely see a prominent brow ridge on the what would be my left looking at it, the original photo for sure.
So like
that's really cool how they like you said, how those two the superimposed image matches up so well.
It's only 50%. It is not a solid picture over it. It's see-through. So
that is awesome.
To me, it says a whole bunch. You know what I mean?
Do you do the method like Scott Carpenter used to do, where you take pictures behind you sometimes, like turned away from them?
Yeah, well, that's like that one I took. I do a selfie. I'll just take a selfie shot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I see one and I want to confuse it a little bit,
right,
I will turn around and just take a backwards picture. But the thing is, when you take a backwards picture, it's you can't really zoom in or nothing. So you got to make sure that it's going to be viewable. See, this right here is that exactly, because the one you just saw was to the right of this one. This was to the left of it. Same time walking up this little area, and it looks green, but it's making the mouth gesture of a primate. They make that mouth gesture when they're in distress. And if you look at the native, the indigenous masks from Alaska and all them, all of them are going like that.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. That I say 90% of all the tribal masks have them making that circled mouth whistle look with it. So that looks exactly like one of those masks.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
That is awesome.
It's y'all, and there's people that it's blurry. Why don't you get a good picture? But we all know, we've heard it. My buddy Greg says it all the time. He says, "Man, you can take a nice camera at the zoo and get all the pretty pictures of lions you want, but if I throw you in the cage with a lion, how many pictures you gonna get?"
Yep.
One. Yeah.
One tooth, a tooth and a tongue while it's
right.
Oh man.
I'm scared to ask about this. I know what it is, but I'm scared what it is. Well, can you tell everybody else what it is?
Well, on the right, you've got a gray, and on the left, you've got a Sasquatch with its eyes glowing. You can see it.
Yep.
And what's really cool is on the one on the right, okay, if you're able to zoom in, are you able to zoom in all? No?
I can't like this.
Well, everybody look carefully. Right underneath its chin, you can see its chest. Now, if you look to the right of it, you see its little shoulder right by that tree, and you go straight down, you can see a long hand.
Wow.
And the fingers. Okay. Now, if you go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, okay. Yeah, I was trying to keep up with you.
Right. So if you look to the left, you'll see the Sasquatch. If you look at them where the eyes are glowing, right? You see the two eyes, you see the nose, and can you see what the mouth is doing?
It looks like exactly. Yeah.
Doing that thing again, okay? Now, if you look straight down, all the way down, okay, to where you see that weird two shadows, the two lines, the two dark lines. If you look to the left of that, right above the top line, you can actually see his big toe with a sharp toenail, a slightly sharp toenail. If you guys could zoom in, I swear you could see it.
I know. Hey,
no, trust me, I believe you. I think you had some other
and I'm going to have to learn how to do that
with this. Yeah, that's another screenshot angle of that.
Or I might have doubled up on you too.
It's all good. And let's see. They're not in order here backstage, guys. I apologize. So this looks like you to impose something over the same area.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find that zoom in real quick.
This,
Hold
yeah,
on.
this is a little different because I zoomed in when he sent them to me, and you
Yeah.
can make out a lot of
This is the
detail.
one I was looking for. There it is. Yeah, this
Yeah.
looks like an AI rendition of
Yeah,
that.
what I try to make an example of what we're seeing, what we're looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna
again,
for the people who are just listening, I'm gonna switch them back and forth real quick. So yeah, this is the AI one of it, and then this is the actual photo. And I mean, I don't know about you, but that looks pretty darn similar. Oh,
Is
hang
there
on,
any
let me
way
get you big. Hang on, let me make you big.
Okay, you making me big. Oh,
Yeah,
but-
that'll work. Got it.
So if you look here, you
Ooh.
can see the mouth and the nose and the two eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, hold on. Let me fix this. Let's try that. Okay.
Wow.
So let's see if I can. There we go. You can see the mouth open, kind of. So if you come down here to the bottom, right there. Let me see. Back, sorry. All right, right here, right there is a toe sticking out. Right. Yeah. When you see at the bottom of him.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, there's a toe sticking out right here, I swear. But
What
over
was
here.
What was going on that night?
Well, that night, let me show you this last one. See if you can see his long arm and chest area.
I just can't get over the perfect shape of like your classic gray alien right
And
there.
the big eyes, yeah.
The
The
shape of the head,
almond.
the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
nuts.
night, it was me, my mom, and my dad in Bonito Canyon, where about 10 years earlier, I got video of a really, really cool structure. And behind the structure, while I was filming it, there was young ones popping in up and down behind the bushes, and you could hear them barking, whoop barking, I guess you'd call it, barking.
Hey,
out.
let me ask you this. Have you ever heard, we said whoop, right? Have you ever had a whoop, whoop?
Yeah.
I think we had a young male, instead of whoop, we heard two whoop, whoops like that, and we heard a grunt, like the mama was like, "Shut up, dude, they're here," So you I'm sorry, I interrupted again, but you could when you say stuff that I've heard
It resonates.
before. I'm gonna shut my mouth and hang back, y'all. No, I'm
Oh no,
kidding.
you're good.
I'm
Don't worry,
excited. I'm excited.
I am too. Anytime somebody starts pulling out pictures, I'm like, oh, let's go. I want to see all the good stuff. So
Yeah,
what
I'm
was
gonna-
the story behind that? Was that the night where your friend was seeing them where it was
No,
coming out of the tent from where that
whole-
picture was? Or is it
whole
completely
other
different?
night.
Okay,
Whole other night.
interesting.
Wow.
This is this happened 6 years later. Okay.
Okay.
From that night. Okay, so I'm gonna play you some audio. Okay. You've heard of David Ellis?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so David Ellis is breaking down the sounds, and he sent me this one of the clips from that night that he's enhanced the noises, you could say. So I'm gonna play that for you. Okay, it's a minute long, so you'll hear what I was hearing that night, and I got those pictures because of those noises. I would point my camera with a night shot at wherever the noises were, and those pictures were what I got later. So here's the audio from that part of the audio from that night. Yeah.
Things were placed here. Yup. Oh, wow. That's cool.
This was okay. That first part, all right, is the 10 years ago in that area with them popping their heads up and down. That's what we're hearing. Then the next section of the sound you're going to hear 10 years later, and it sounds like the same individuals. It's crazy. Like they didn't age, or I'm not sure how old they were, whatever. But yeah, here we go.
Pushed over. Standing there. I realized him.
That's me.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what he sent me, which there's a whole hour of audio. He just sent me, that was 1 minute.
That's
So
crazy.
what was his assessment of the audio?
Well, here, I'll read you what he said, okay?
Okay.
He says, Jesus, I edited an audio file from a YouTube video. Lots going on that I would like to talk to you about, specifically crow talker voice and horn vocal. It was interesting how vocals changed from dog bark to something else. I was particularly interested when you said juveniles. You were interacting with them. You also captured a power knock and response, some whoop variations, and a trigram. Trigram. Looking forward to when we can talk. Thanks for sharing. Hope you get home safe.
So he's saying the change in vocalization. I think didn't react to your whistle.
Yeah,
it went a little higher when you whistled.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, and he recognized from other audio he's listened to, which he calls the crow talker, and it's where the individual making the sounds changes animals in the middle of it,
right.
of their sound, and then if you listen, one of them got excited and sounded like a chimp.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It was like I said, those were the pictures I took, and then not till 2 years later, as in before I went to Yakima, I was going through them again, just examining the crap out of them again, and I realized I missed one image that was there of a Bigfoot looking through the dang trees that I hadn't realized was there, and so that's the other picture I sent you, showing one of them looking through the trees, which is the one that had the eyes glowing in the picture next to the gray.
Wow.
But in this shot, you can only see him, but you can see his eye color. You can see yellow eye color, his head, face, pretty much everything. It's pretty wild. I don't know if that picture came through or not.
Let me look here real quick.
Well, let me see.
Oh, there's the one with the same thing on the arm. Is
oh yeah,
Patty.
So that's
that
raised burnt skin, almost kind of like a brand. You said.
Yeah, it's raised. You can see if you look carefully, you can see there's shadow
right
off of it. So it's definitely raised. It's the same backwards, P or a 9 shape of a 9, but it's on the same area right here as in that picture of Patty.
Wow.
And this one's here. Yeah, and I have all the pictures from the original big giant picture to the zoom in, the brighten, zoom in, brighten, zoom in. And then you get to this. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that was from, like I said, that night with all the noises you just heard. You can see its nose, its mouth, its eye, everything. I isolated it.
That one's crazy.
I put a color filter and just erased where it was, so the color, everything around it's the filter. But those are its actual colors. I didn't color eyes or anything. The eye looks yellow to me. But
yeah, very.
Yeah, that was maybe that one from the measurements. I took that one had to be like a 10-footer or slightly bigger, and it was about, I would give it maybe 50 feet away from my camp when I took the picture. But it was in the picture.
It's too close.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look happy. That's.
No, he looks annoyed.
Yeah.
And I imagine, that would probably be what I would be looking like if somebody was camping in my driveway. If I got up in the morning, like, what in the world are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Look at that
like, think about that. Without the filter, you don't even see it there. It looks like part of the background. But once I isolated it, you can start seeing
when you isolate it,
boink, shoots
That's
out.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna flip to this photo here. That's the same
Going
one with
farther.
the keloid
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
right?
just a little bit far away, you know. But you can see the forehead, the cheeks, the nose, the mouth area.
Mm-hmm.
You can see possibly teeth, or it's the oil from the mouth shining on the bottom lip area.
Mm-hmm.
You can see a big old football looking shoulder and then the arm right
Yep.
there.
Oh, you can see
But
is a deltoid on the shoulder? Is that what that is? Is that what it's called, that shoulder muscle?
oh,
You can
yeah,
see,
yeah,
like, you can see the shadow of
the shape.
the muscle. Yeah, the
Yep,
shape is supposed to be, really.
yeah, and then there's the face, of course. I just been showing that. It looks
Yeah,
like it's
Marco.
sitting
Whoop.
possibly
I'm back.
cross-legged, but you can't
There
see
it
the
goes.
whole bottom half of it. But it looks like it's sitting cross-legged to me or something. The way the leg looks all funny.
It looks like he's sitting kind of in just an odd angle, like he's
If you,
got his
if you
using half of his arm and his shoulder to kind of hide, and he's peeked out from around it a
well,
little
if you
bit.
look
The tree.
carefully, okay. Let me see. I'm gonna come back here. All right. So
Right.
the thing is right here, right on it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Look carefully at the elbow. You'll see that it has its hand holding its elbow. You can see fingers. Look
It's
carefully.
cupping under.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, you can
Yep.
see that.
Yeah. So to
Interesting.
me, that would be a gesture of trying to console itself because it's a little bit agitated, maybe, and it's like holding
Mm-hmm.
itself, you know, like
Yep. Kind of. Yep.
you
That's
know,
right.
hiding in the dark shadows, and it's like, man, can he see me? You
Right.
know, I could just hear it. I couldn't see it, but I took pictures of that where I could hear it, and after zooming in and brightening it up, there it was.
Well, you can think about, if we were wanting to stay hidden, you get as small as possible and don't get anything out. You keep everything in so the silhouette is confuses somebody.
You know,
Wow. That's, and have you been doing this like what, 15 years or so?
and like in the field, or do you mean just in
Yeah,
general?
like going out and
Actually,
researching.
going out, yeah, I would say 15 years,
That's
roughly. Yeah,
What
ish.
made you decide to want to go out and pursue it on purpose?
Well, I've always wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but until you know what the heck you're looking for really and what to look for, you're just camping and taking a hike
Mm-hmm.
and trying to get lucky, you know. But for me, to me, that was a waste of time, and I decided that until I studied enough, researched enough, and learned actual ways to track them and recognize things, that I think I was even worthy to attempt to enter their domain and, I guess, call them out. You know.
Right.
so what did hold on, native tracker says the kana on his chest, the backwards P means gentleman, and then means he's advertising for a wife. And
Okay.
then Patrick asked if you ever have any like weird mind speak or any, like, not necessarily voices but thoughts or anything like that while you're out there.
Um, I've had, I would say, one, what I call one official mind speak incident.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one that came to my house in the backyard, which is a desert, and something was giving off eye shine over I'd say 8 foot tall mesquite bush.
Hmm.
So it was really tall.
Yeah.
And Robert Kreider had just invited me to go out to his area, KX Explorations in Madrid, the area, New Mexico, the Madrid Mountains, and I had literally just agreed to it, and I was preparing to leave, and he had just called me and invited me, and I told him, yeah, I'm head out right now, 4 hour drive, whatever, let's go,
Hmm.
Like about an hour later, as I was preparing to leave, my little doggies I had at the time, 2 Chihuahuas, and they were just losing their minds. And I never heard them growl before. They didn't bark. But just at this moment, they wanted to kill something that was outside that window in the back, that sliding door I told you about.
Mm.
They were just. It was. I was like, holy crap, I'm scared of them.
Yeah.
And
So this ain't normal for y'all. What's going on?
right, so I looked over, over the sink to to the window facing that way, and I saw the eye shine, and then I heard a woman's voice that said, "We know you're coming," like that,
Oh.
and And then Robert Craddock called me right after that. He was like, "Holy crap, bro! I don't know what's going on. They're losing their minds out there. They're hooting and hollering. I haven't heard one peep in over 3 weeks, and they're like celebrating something." Yeah. Mm.
So, okay, then.
You know,
see, we know so little, but I think this is the tip of the iceberg. People always ask, "What do you think they are?" I have no idea. I mean, I could tell you what I might think, but also I feel like there's few different types maybe. And if you it's good to hear that in different regions they act similar for the most part. Something with its own mind is going to act whatever it does, whatever it wants to do. But some of these patterns, some of these reactions to different things, the structures, the screams, the changing of the vocalizations, and the reaction to your whistle. I like stuff like that. It was doing something, and when you whistled, it got excited, like, and so I love stuff like that. So yeah. Oh man, we could get into his UFO stuff. Y'all go watch Flash of Beauty because the Bigelow story is mind blowing.
that was a trip.
Yeah, and like getting a call just out of the blue, thinking you're being punked, and you followed up and figured out it wasn't, and that makes me think, which I'm sure other people thought. Well, you're just speculating and throwing it out there. Your dad's in the military. Maybe somebody's keeping an eye on you, keeping tabs on you, and they know more about you than you do at that point.
Well,
So
think about it. Imagine if you're the military and you have somebody that's stationed on your base, and there's a constant breach of airspace because the freaking UFO keeps on going over the base to a certain house over and over and over. They're gonna notice. They're gonna notice, and they're like, "Oh, let's just wait, see what we can get." No matter where I lived, whatever state or base or anything, something was always happening.
That's really incredible, actually, because you lived overseas at military bases, and I grew up in a haunted house, and then we moved to a place where I found out later that a lady that lived there as a little girl, her parents got abducted and she got abducted, and then we met. She lives in a different part of the state now, but she was telling me about that, and y'all, there's a memory that I can't quite get. I know something happened in that house to me one night while I was sleeping. I'm not going to say, don't go say Roger said he got abducted, but from the strange stuff that she said, and now I'm like, it's like it wants to recall, but it won't. And I remember my mama's saying something about seeing a big brown hairy thing, and I was like 7. It was the year Elvis passed away, so that's how old I am. And
interesting way to remember what year it is too.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's right. I mean, whatever. I was born in 71, and whatever year he passed away, that's what year it was.
Hey, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot has left the building.
Right.
So, yeah. And I'm not trying to remember it. It just keeps trying to come back. And I think I'm pushing it away because when she told me that story, and they went years having stuff happen there, I think if she never had told me the story, I may not have ever almost recalled. So I'm scared someday it might just come flooding in, and I don't want it to, because she told stories of her mom floating out the door and then coming back, and then her getting put on board and being tested and stuff like that. So that's terrifying. I mean,
that is terrifying.
It's like, I see a lot of crazy stuff. I take pictures and video and stuff. But when you got these guys coming in your room and taking you and taking you away for days at a time and whatnot, and doing all kinds of weird stuff with you. It got to a point where it got too intense for me, and for me to say it's too intense,
It's
okay,
yeah,
it's real bad. And
right.
I literally had to tell them, I don't want to remember anymore, because they were letting me remember too much to where
Mhm.
it was really upsetting me, and really just freaking me out bad. And I told them, I go, I don't, y'all come get me, do whatever, just take me, do whatever, but um, I don't want to remember anymore. I go, I can't
Knock
deal
me
with that.
out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't deal with
knock
that.
me. Yeah.
Once you drop me off, just do that whole flashy thing, you know, and that's cool with
That's
me.
right.
And sure as anything, stopped remembering those visitations, but I would see the UFOs coming and going and stuff like that. But the in between part, no more until they're listening, man. Trust me, that the ones that have been touched, it's like they have a built-in little comm, hey, I know you hear me. I know you hear me. Just like
Mhm.
when with ghosts and other things, they can sense it. It's a Santa Claus thing. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows
That's
when you're
well, I mean,
you
yeah.
know.
And I know people listening on Spotify tomorrow, I'll be like, "What? What are they talking about?" But y'all, I'm telling you, the more you dig into this, and you find people like us that have had now, he's had more happen than I have. I'll go ahead and say that. But I've got just enough taste of it, and I feel like I've been shown things in layers so I wouldn't freak all the way out. And when Clan Ken here, we found out we have a relative in common way down the line, so I call him Cuz. But hey, welcome in, Ken. Glad to see you, buddy. Um, it's I'm glad that you had made the decision to share, because the one thing we don't realize a lot of times, there might be 10 people in here like, man, they're batshit crazy. Then there might be 5 people in here like, we're helping,
Or
right?
even just
So,
one. And
or
if
just
it's just that
one,
one,
that's
then
right.
it's worth it.
Yep. And
Or just that one you're supposed to, hear.
oh God, you just opened up a can of worms.
Mm,
Mhm.
You Nothing happens by accident. I believe everything happens the way it's supposed to. It might be not on your time to what you think should be,
Mhm.
but just like you getting that acting job, how it happened, uh, it was like everything was falling into place. Then there's weird synchronicities, is a word that Amanda likes to use and Ashley likes to use when she's on here. Of
It's a
you
good
said
word.
like a director or whatever, or a producer or whatever that had made the movie or helped make the movie uh, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
yeah.
You're living there now, and that person was involved in helping you get the job, if I remember correctly. So it's not it's and you asked for that, right?
Yeah.
Just blindly asked for it, and
Well, I should have said, that if I gotta have the world listen to what I have to say, the only way to me would make sense is if I'm on TV and movies and radio and all these different avenues of technology that
Mhm.
society currently listens to, versus me, putting out a flyer saying I'll be at the local coffee bean shop talking about UFOs in the Bible, which that's what I
Mhm.
tried for a
right.
couple of years and nobody cared except for a few people. But yeah, it is very, very, I guess if you said coincidental, but if you guys get a chance, there is a book, okay, by Dr. Daniel Fry, all right, and I believe it's called "To Men of Earth," a letter to men of Earth, and
Okay.
he actually worked here on the missile range and talks about those happenings that later became the movie. So it's like been documented. Nobody really noticed or said anything, I guess. But yeah, that book was at our library here, and I was like, as I read it, and yeah, there's it's all happened for a reason. I asked them to make it happen, and whoever it was that lined it up, that little old lady, Sherry Rhodes, that was the casting director. As soon as she realized that my name was actually Jesus, Jesus, or whatever, she threw her arms up and looked at the sky and said, "This is a divine intervention." She said she was from Paris, Texas.
Oh,
And,
Lord.
yeah, so literally, it's like, come on, you know what I mean? Like 28 days before that, I had just threw in the request, and if anybody knows, chasing an acting gig to become an actor, that's not normal.
Well,
Yeah.
if the business is anything like the country music business here, it's cutthroat. I mean, you have to know somebody that knows somebody that didn't make somebody mad in 1968. It's like you can have talented people, but there has to be that path opened up. We see that a lot around here. But I got a fan theory, which is stupid, but I told him before. He played Gonzo in Breaking Bad, and I didn't watch it the whole time, and then I binged it, and I didn't know who he was, of course, but I saw I saw Gonzo being big and bad, being mean to poor old Walter, and I'm looking at that necklace, and I'm like, wait, did Gonzo kill Dom Toretto? That's how bad. That's
Then I stole his car too.
Which one?
Well, if you watch Better Call Saul in the first 2 episodes, you'll see the car in the background.
Okay, I have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check that out. Hey, I'm a Mopar guy, like like you. So, man, when I saw that Magnum on Facebook, I'm like, heck yeah, this is a dude right here.
Yeah.
But, man, there's so many ways we could go. But there's one thing that stood out. I sometimes I pick up on little details, and we talk about synchronicities, and we talk about things happening by accident, which we don't believe that anymore. When you were a kid, there was a book in your house that you saw. How did that book get there? Why was that book there for Jesus to pick up and start reading? That's where my mind goes. It's there. Can you tell everybody what book that was?
It was Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World.
Yeah.
It was on our coffee table. It was my mom's. I'm guessing as long as my dad never was really into all the strange stuff. But entertained us and took us to go hunt for Nessie, Loch Ness Monster, with Scotland.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that book was there, and that was the first time I ever saw anything about a Bigfoot or UFOs. That as a little kid,
Was that the one that had a little bit about Bigfoot, a little bit about Nessie, a little bit about and the Bermuda Triangle and all that?
Yep.
I checked that out in the library when I was in, I forget what grade it was. It was really early, but that was the only thing I had. There was nothing out in the country here. We grew up poor. I mean, we didn't have anything. So, we might have seen the Patty film back then, maybe probably pre-stabilization by MK.
Yeah,
and but I remember feeling different, but no way to explain it, and of course nobody to talk to. So
MK Davis, let me say something about that guy.
All right.
He's pretty awesome. He's my friend.
Yeah. Hey, MK's cool.
That's where I got the picture of Patty's arm, because I was like, MK, he knows every inch of that damn film left and right.
Every pixel, he's got that thing down memorized.
He knows too much about that video.
Oh yeah.
When he's telling us that Patty had hemorrhoids, I'm like, whoa.
Yep. So he hadn't noticed the arm, that scar. I actually got to show him something that he didn't realize was there, and I showed him, my Sasquatch picture too of the arm.
Right.
And we also worked on the face of Patty. She has an injury right here on her face. What looks like stitching and bandaging.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you look at something long enough and stepping back, you need to let other people, and like you said, your experience, you probably locked onto that right away. Like, whoa, wait a minute, what is this? I wouldn't have known to look for that. MK probably, yeah, Forbidden Planet. We did a interview with MK on the other Squatchin Holler channel, and it was like 3 hours long. Is that on the lip, right across the lips there? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then watch this. Zoom in a little bit.
It's got to be tough living out there where Tate Hieronymus.
Yeah, so I showed that to MK2, and he said that he had noticed, I've enhanced it a whole bunch, because in the original picture it's hard to see that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what everybody is used to seeing at best. Usually is this picture.
Yeah,
kind of set, bright, but it looks better on my phone. But yeah, that's what they're used to, and I was able to darken all the bright ass parts, and bandage just started showing. And I took the picture to a surgeon, 2 different surgeons, and just showed them the mouth area. I didn't show them that it was a Bigfoot. I just said, what kind of bandaging is this? What do you think happened to this person? And they said, yeah, that looks like a field dressing. Somebody that knows surgery, though. Somebody knows how to sew skin. Said, yeah, that it looks like a major facial trauma, and the way it was sewed up right here, it even had a little bridge. I call it a bridge, with the material going between like this, so the mouth could still open up a little bit and still drink and eat. And that's why when you look at her face, it looks like she's going, "Arr!" Then you can't see nothing, and then over here you can see teeth. It's because it's sewn together.
It's holding it up. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Pretty cool to be able to show MK Davis, something that he hadn't seen before. I was like, check this out.
Exactly.
It reminds me a little bit of somebody who was born with like a cleft lip or something like that. Yeah. The scar that they would have for that.
And for somebody that's just listening, hadn't checked out a lot of Bigfoot stuff, they're like, what? Bigfoot surgery? And look, y'all, you have stories down through the ages of Native American tribes, other people trading with Bigfoot, living with Bigfoot, working together, whether you call it Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. And they have thumbs. So it ain't like, it ain't like a cow's out there and you say, oh, well, it's impossible. If something has thumbs and opposable thumbs and hands and fingers and a brain, and they're not exactly like us, but they're made up very, very similar. Humans, we have a very good habit of thinking we're the smartest ape in the canyon, right? A lot of times that's not true. You look back at some of things in history. I just talked to my buddy today. They're like, I was like, it's funny you have these people that say, oh, we're the most advanced society, blah, blah, blah. Well, how did they build this, 1,500 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, then you're not the most advanced,
Nope.
That just proves it right there. And we keep having to relearn history.
Mm-hmm.
And we could get into another area of who's hiding it. Why are they hiding it? You can go down that rabbit hole, which I think it's all tied together. I don't know how.
I have something, pictures from what you said. This is something that I like to mention to people. Okay, so imagine you're a Sasquatch and you come from a Sasquatch family, and all of your information may be genetically stored, from all your history from forefathers on, or it's been passed down orally. Y'all know your history of your family, okay? Because they have tribes and all that stuff. So imagine if you got to be a group of individuals that has gotten to spend thousands of years watching, listening to us, the hairless ones, sort of, see our civilizations rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, and to where the point where they know exactly how we act. They know that if they start randomly killing people, there's going to be a bunch of us with pitchforks and you know.
You're right. You're right.
All that stuff. So, like, we keep on forgetting. We are just barely being allowed to remember this much of our technology and true histories when you've got the Sasquatch that have gotten to watch it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And watch the mistakes. Now, on another good point, talked to somebody today. We were just kind of throwing that back and forth, and just what you said. So if I'm a alpha Sasquatch and I've got a family, and cuz lives over, in the 2 hollers over, and then, and what if, let's just for giggles, let's say a dog man comes in and he starts killing sheep or starts threatening people. It's in the Sasquatch's best interest to take that dude out. Because of just what you said. The wolves got wiped out because of the coyotes. They got blamed for what the coyotes did when they crossed over here. And so, without getting too far into it, you're right. If I can find it in nature, if I can find it in history in the past that it happened, why not? Why can't it happen again with another group? So some people believe that they're protectors, which I'm starting to believe that a little bit. I know people that have them close to their homes, and they talk about when they come through, the female is closer to the home, the little one's in the middle, and the alpha's up higher where he can see, but he's close enough to take care of business if he needs to, so that's by the tracks that's happened season after season after season, and it's not just like somebody's coming up off the top of their head. This guy I'm talking about, it's one of the best researchers. He's not well known, but how many times did Bigfoot laugh at Roger making mistakes? Yeah, Wendell, you're right. I mean, I've messed up more evidence than I've accumulated. I've got in, took with me. So, but anyway, we're coming up 1 hour and 46. I know I don't want to keep you too long. I'm the type of person could talk for hours and hours. Is there anything that you want to advertise or throw out there, or
Sure. All right. If you guys haven't seen the Flash of Beauty interview I did, go watch it.
Definitely.
If you want to see more in-depth evidence than what we got to show tonight, go to my Breaking Bigfoot channel, and there's a good, 50, 60, 70 videos on there of what I do and what I've seen. There's more to come. I got Facebook, Breaking Bigfoot group. Not there too much, not too many people in there. More YouTube oriented, I guess you could say.
So you have a Breaking Bigfoot Facebook page?
Yeah, there's a Breaking Bigfoot group. So feel free to join if you find it.
I have a feeling
I'll be sending you a request here.
You're going to get quite a few requests here in the next couple of days. So
good deal. So things that if you like to read or like Breaking Bad or anything like that, on Amazon I have a book I wrote called Baking Bad, a Breaking Bad memoir and cookbook. I put together because I lost 200 pounds when me and my wife put together the whole book's not recipes, just a small section.
Yeah,
we put together about 70 keto recipes, so you can diet and still eat all the good sweet tasting yummies that you want to lose weight, and you can't give up them breads and sugars. But
brother, I've been there.
Amazon Baking Bad.
Amazon Baking Bad. That's pretty cool. I was almost 400 pounds at one point and almost dead, and I just got a jolt one day. I'm like, you're killing yourself with a spoon and fork, and I started eating clean as possible and not doing the sugars, the refined sugars and all that. So congratulations. That's a hard thing. It's a heck of an accomplishment.
It was right after I found those footprints, or the little casting you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just filmed 2 guns, and I literally almost died. All my organs were shutting down, and I got myself to the emergency room and collapsed there at the emergency room. I said, I don't know what's happening. I was upset. I was dying.
Yeah,
and that's how I found out I had diabetes. And I weighed 450 pounds.
that's a heck of a motivation. Yeah, we could. Yeah, I remember laying there with my chest hurting, thinking this is it. Next beat's gonna be it. So then you get to thinking about your family and all that, and you know you do what you got to do.
You think Bigfoot's scary? No, diabetes. It's scary.
That's yes, I know. You got to pronounce it right. Diabetes.
Diabetes.
You know, diabetes.
Yep.
No, yeah, and another thing, y'all, go to IMDb. I think
Yep.
Google his name and what. It's fun. It's fun to see. I was watching Gamer, I think, the other day,
Yep.
and then I'm really good with faces. I'm bad with names. So, but I can't remember. I watched the movie, but does Steven Seagal beat you up too bad?
Oh, and that one, it's Gerard Butler. I died like 5 different times in that movie.
Okay. And they come back, right? Yeah.
Steven Seagal movies, I did 3 of them. There was a Force of Execution, Urban Justice, and I can't remember the third one. But yeah, I always die and get beat up or killed. They never let me win. And then
maybe
the reunion, I fought John Cena, and his little brother was giving my woman the eye, even though she worked at a strip club, and that was her job. But yeah, I just had to beat him up, But,
that's funny. Well, we wish you all the luck, and hey, if you get a finished project, let me know. We'll tell everybody to check you out.
I think we need another episode.
I agree.
Which one?
You pick it.
Well, I heard it's either AI Breaking Bad. I tweeted.
Do one of those and one of those.
I tweeted. I'm bad about tweeting, but try and think I'm funny. I tweeted out to David Spade one time. Hey, you need another Joe Dirt? I'm gonna be the half brother Bo Dirt and drive my Mopar. A lot of people, But anyway, yeah. Look, y'all, that's exactly right. I'm gonna say one thing about that. Breaking Bad was a work of art as a TV series. It was masterfully done. If you paid attention to the colors of his shirt, what was going on, it's almost Forrest Gumpish the way he accidentally became Heisenberg, right? It's like, and I think the best part about that, besides Gonzo, was one week I told them earlier, you want to choke Walter's character. The next week you wanted to hug him and console him. And then the next week you're like, I can't believe I wanted you to be okay, because it was such a roller coaster of emotion.
You love to hate him, kind of like Tuco. You love to hate him,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. And hey, and they did a great job. If y'all, one of the funny things, I feel sorry for the people that owned the house where the pizza was thrown up on the roof. They have trouble with people doing that all the time. So, But anyway, thank you, Mr. Jesus. Nice to meet you, sir.
Likewise. Yes, very nice to meet you. Nice talking with you and sharing your experiences. Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. What
we got?
Well, hold on. I need him to wave. I need him to wave again. Wave for me.
Oh.
That's the only chance I'll get to use that in the correct way. So
happening.
Chat.
Thank you, everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, I can't wait till next time. Let's do something.
Yes, sir. Hey, get any new stuff. For sure. Exactly. Send some cast to the Bigfoot Museum in Georgia there.
Right. Yeah, I just got Michael Freeman, right?
Oh yeah.
Paul's son.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I saw him, he gave me a whole collection of all his casts.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Sweet.
I know I've been wanting to get one of the copies of his cast. Yep. I want the there he goes. That video. I want the cast from the video. That would be one of my dream ones to have in my collection.
I've got all that stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
If you ever go to a conference in East Tennessee or Georgia or whatever, hit me up and let me know. I'll drive over and we'll just say hi or whatever, get a couple pictures, and we'll support you. We'll support you.
Well, you let me know about that museum. I want to go visit it. You know, let's figure out something. Let's do something with it. I'm down. Let's figure it out. You know,
I like when I watch the Flash of Beauty thing. I'm like, man, he's got a sense of humor. He's gonna fit in good. All right, thank you, sir.
You'll have a good night.
This is our Southern 45-minute goodbye as usual. So, y'all be good.
Take care.
Uh-huh.